This is the set of IEMs that I'm going to be recommending to anyone who says they want to spend around 9 or 10,000 rupees. I did have a favorite, which was the Oriveti OD200 for quite a while, but I can say that this is properly value for money compared to that. Thank you to the folk at Headphone Zone for making this review possible by sending me this demo unit. All thoughts and opinions are my own as always. So let's jump into the build and the unboxing. The unboxing is a bit on the flamboyant side. It comes with a beautifully printed box, of course, with the Defiant name on it, along with the Headphone Zone collaboration along with Juzear, which is cool, or Juzear, whichever one it is. And then, of course, it does have a very interesting little piece of paper within it, which has this sort of a bird cut out here. It's definitely a very pretty design and a pretty box. Now, within it, you will, of course, get the IEMs, and you do get a very nice little leatherette sort of carry case, which is quite cool. And within it, you will get, of course, the cable. Now, this does appear to be a very premium cable. It does have very good looking materials on it. It certainly looks almost like an upgrade cable, at least compared to the ones I have that I've been testing. And it's of definite high quality. In fact, it has this section here that you can unscrew and swap this 3.5 mm with the USB-C cable, which is kind of cool, which is just that little bit. Now, the other end of this is terminated to that 0.78 mm termination, but it's cool that you can swap for convenience between a USB-C and the 3.5. Another cool thing is that it does have a little button to tap and control your play, pause, next, previous songs and all, and the other side of this module does have a microphone in it as well. Another cool thing is that it comes with a cleaning cloth in this little case as well, so you can use it to keep your IEMs clean, and of course it does come with a slew of ear tips as well. Now, you do get about 14 sets of ear tips. Now, some of these have a tighter bore with a different material, some have a much wider bore, and you also do get one set of foam ear tips, and I think that this is perfect for if you want to see what's comfortable for you. I myself really like the foam ones for comfort, but I've zoned in on the ones with a larger bore because I do like how they stage and how they handle their bass. But this is something you'll have to do when you decide to spend time with your IEMs. Figure out which ones are perfect for you for the best seal, best comfort, and keep those on your IEMs, of course. Now, this little module that's provided with the branding is definitely also very nicely done. It's very tastefully done. It does have a threading over here, so this is screw onto the cable and it'll sit pretty firmly. It's got a little safety knob over there also, so you don't damage the pins. It sort of slots into place, so you can use this. And then moving on to the IEMs, these are also very nicely done. They're definitely some sort of a resin. I like the overall design of it. It's definitely very pretty to look at. Of course, under it, you'll see the Juzear sort of brand name written along with that in Chinese. And the faceplates are absolutely drop dead gorgeous, especially when they catch any light. These are definitely very pretty to look at. And of course, you'll see the Headphone Zone brand on the left IEM, which is pretty nice as well. Comfort wise, I found these to be pretty comfortable. I've worn these for hours on end. I've not really had any issues with pain or discomfort, so I'd say these are pretty good for longer listening sessions. And of course, you will notice here there's a little sort of venting port that's close to the 0.78 mm connector, which is rather interesting. It's normally just one hole, but it seems to have an interesting design to it over here. And then moving on to that microphone, if you do intend on using this microphone for gaming or taking calls, here's a quick demo to show you how this will perform. I'm calling you from the confines of my studio, so the audio you're hearing is from the microphone within my phone. So if by any chance you have a set of IEMs that don't have a mic, your phone usually takes over. So this is what it will sound like. But since this has a microphone right down here near my clavicle and a USB-C sort of add-on, it should have a pass-through without a doubt. I will plug this in so it jumps on over to that now. And it's saying recording audio through headset. So it should have taken over onto the microphone that's right down here next to my clavicle. So now if I bring this up, I'm sure the overall tonal quality or the overall volume might have shifted. So you'd be the best judge to see how this sounds. I mean, if this is something you like doing, or if you don't have to do, this is what it'll sound like if it's further down. So perfect for if you're taking calls or gaming with all your buddies online. So I hope this demo has given you a better understanding for how this little microphone sounds with the Defiant, and I'll see you in the chapter about sound. Moving on to the sound, this does come with a hybrid setup. So that's one dynamic driver and 3 BAs. So the dynamic driver handles the lower frequencies, 2 BAs handle the mids, and 1 the highs. This does have a pretty easy to drive low resistance of just 32 ohms, and these have a frequency response of 20 Hz all the way up to 20,000 Hz. fairly easy to drive as well, especially with my RZ550. I'm using a Roses Elsa RZ550. It's a powerful little DAC amp, very capable little piece of hardware. Now, when it comes to the volume, I'm usually listening to these between 20 and 25% volume. I don't really need to go too much higher. When I plug this into my Android phone, Android does tend to boost the signal a bit, but when I plug these IEMs via the same hardware to my Mac, I'm listening to a similar volume at around maybe 45% volume, where it's equal to the same output. So these are easy to drive, but I will say that the headroom on this DAC amp does definitely help with these IEMs. I will say that these kind of IEMs do need a good amount of power, in the sense if you do want headroom. If you've got an amp that's maxing out, you'll hear it with these IEMs. So keep that in mind. And then moving on to its soundstage, well, this is actually a pretty good performer. I've felt and heard things that sit maybe an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches out of my ears. And these do go a little higher in vertical stage, above my eyebrows, maybe just about at my hairline. So this is definitely more expansive than I was expecting it to be. So I'd say pretty good performer. Imaging wise, this is pretty sharp in its overall delivery, but I will say that this is not, you know, the kind of razor sharp delivery you expect from a lot of IEMs. A lot of people are doing that, and I think that's not really the right way to do it, because things get a little too defined. It's like, you know, when you go and over sharpen an image when you're editing a photo, it just looks wrong. This doesn't do that. I like that it's, you know, it's just about right. And because of that, its timbre, I think, leans more towards realism than not. Now, is it the most real sounding set of IEMs out there? I'd say maybe not, but in this price range, it really does shine through. Like, I really enjoyed listening to a lot of acoustic stuff. I've thrown a lot of orchestral stuff at it, some OSTs, and I've really had an absolute ball with these IEMs. So then moving on to its tuning, well, they've definitely tuned it well to be kind of safe, in the sense it does seem to have some sort of Harman curve. There is elevated lower frequency, elevated high, and recessed mids. Now, the high frequencies are elevated, but at no point does it get brittle. Now, I found a lot of IEMs that choose to use the BA drivers for high frequency reproduction tend to stay clear away of being shrill or sharp, so it never gets fatiguing, it never puts strain on the ear, it never really gets uncomfortable to listen to high frequencies. So, you know, they've done a good job with that. The mid frequencies, it definitely does have an elevation in the upper mid range, but with the lower mids rolled off, I was expecting this to be a little thinner with some vocals, especially males. But it's done a pretty good job. I've been finding it very difficult to find something I don't like about these IEMs. Instrument and vocal separation here is fantastic, especially when you layer, things are layered very well if you're trying to focus in on different elements. Now, I've thrown a lot of stuff at this, like I mentioned, some OSTs and everything. And considering what I played, in fact, I'll mention I've thrown the OST Test Ride from How to Train Your Dragon. There's a lot happening in that track. There's horns, there's woodwinds, there's string, you name it, it's all happening in that piece of music. It's a beautiful piece of music, especially in the part, the visual where Toothless opens up his wings. And this thing handles it spectacularly well. It's actually a very enjoyable listen on these IEMs. You can really focus on whatever instrument you want over there. It does it quite flawlessly. Then I've also thrown Foreigners, I Want to Know What Love Is. There are a lot of headphones and earphones that can't give you a nice separation between the primary vocals and the chorus or the choir in the background. With this, it's very easy to decipher that separation. You can, I won't say almost hear every single individual in the choir, that's, you know, exaggerating it a bit, but they do come through to you as a single voice with separate parts, as a choir would. So it definitely does a very good job over here. And the other track I did throw at them was from Hans Zimmer's Live in Prague, What Are You Going to Do When You're Not Saving the World, from Man of Steel, of course. And it does it absolutely effortlessly. It's a beautifully recorded track, beautifully mastered, and everything across the spectrum, from the highs, mids to lows, it just comes through really effortlessly, and I will say gracefully. This set of IEMs has really taken on its own personality with me, and I'm really smitten with it, to be honest. Moving on to the bass. Well, the bass, this is where, for me, a lot of products can make it or break it. Here's where the OD200 was, it was a fun sounding set of IEMs, but I wasn't 100% with it. That set of IEMs to me, to my taste, was a little too obnoxious in the low frequencies. It was very in your face. It was very big. It was very prominent. It was almost like the main theme of those IEMs. But I mean, it was a nice set of IEMs. I did enjoy those. This gives you the correct amount of bass without being obnoxious. This handles it in a very graceful manner. It is calm, it is subtle, it is smooth. The overall delivery of this is all about texture, it's all about tightness, it's all about being confident in its overall delivery. So like I mentioned, to me these do have a certain personality. This is that graceful lady who walks into a ballroom, lovely gown, carries herself well, not tripping over her heels and all that sort of stuff. This is properly a beautifully tuned set of IEMs. Now, if I have to really nitpick and pull out the things I don't like about it, there is possibly some sense of sibilance in the upper mid-range. I mean, and ever so slightly. I don't know if it's my hearing, but lately I've been getting or noticing this with a lot of IEMs. But I will say that this gets close to it, but doesn't really cross that line. But it again depends on the mix and master that you're listening to, as well as the hardware. That is also a factor. So that is one. And the other thing is the USB-C little, the additional part you put on the cable. It's most likely some sort of decoder. I don't think it's proper hardware where they've put a proper DAC chip and an amp chip. Then again, I did do A/B testing between my RZ550 and the little sort of dongle thing that comes along with this. And it's definitely not as good a performer as the RZ550. Having said that, the RZ550 is a little on the expensive side and it does have good hardware. When I switch over to the Defiant one, it's much thinner sounding. It's not as powerful. You have to boost it way more to get to an equal volume, and it still sounds thin. It's not very dynamic there. Whereas with proper power, this is why I mentioned you need a good amount of power with good headroom to really open up these IEMs. And when I pair it with the RZ550 again, the dynamics of this just shine through. It makes it very evident that this is a set of IEMs that can handle anything at any volume. So you don't need to crank up to 50% volume. Down low at 10 and 15% volume, it's rounded. It's rounded and well defined. It's not sounding, squirmish, or it's not sounding anemic at a lower volume where it can't give you a well-rounded bass. So that's why I say it is that graceful lady that walks into a ballroom and carries itself very well. So to sum up, if you are looking for a set of IEMs that have a beautiful design, terrific cable quality in terms of its overall build and the way it sounds, and also something that sounds classy, this is genuinely a set of IEMs that has a touch of class to it in terms of its overall sound presentation and its tuning. Full marks to the guys at Juzear. This is the first set of IEMs I'm reviewing from them, in fact. And I think the folk at Headphone Zone did go back and forth with these guys in terms of how to tune these for the Indian market. And I think they've done a pretty spectacular job at that. So anyway, moving on, if you do want to buy these do have a solid MRP of about 12,999, and I honestly think if they sold it for this, it would have been well worth it. But at the time of recording this video, this does have an MRP of about 9,999. That is the everyday edition, which is the 3.5 plus the Type-C, which is the one I have with me right now. Whereas if you are going for the audiophile version, that's the 3.5 plus 4.4 instead of the USB-C variant, that goes for 8,999. And honestly, if you have a very good DAC amp, I'd say one that's powerful enough, go for the balanced one. If you have a 3.5, like this little dongle DAC does have a 3.5 and 4.4. If you do have a DAC amp like that, just go for the audiophile one with the 4.4 balanced option also, because this will sharpen up, it will tighten up, and I do suspect that with that combination with balanced, you might just be exposed to slightly better staging as well as imaging. So keep that in mind. So there you have it. That's my not very quick review on the Juzear Defiant in collaboration with Headphone Zone. And I do hope that this video has given you a better understanding for these IEMs, and I do hope that it helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning in for some sound advice.